Did in my sister's eyes, we don't want to fight. We don't want to fight. It's like the demonic shit around us. The program, how it's supposed to go, is forcing us to do whatever, say whatever out of our mouth. We don't eat on time. They starve us, make sure we're hungry, angry. I don't give a f- about this country. Y'all can sue me. Y'all can delete my Instagram. I don't care. I don't care. I'm getting on my flying. Damn it, bro. Oh, God, bro. I don't really like how, like, fame and people in the industry, it's like you have to humiliate yourself to be somebody that you're not. And that I know myself, I'm willing to walk away from a check and just say everybody's programmed to fight. Everybody don't like that show, bro. I don't care what nobody say, man. I'm going home. For real.
Listen closely, because this story didn't knock on the door, it kicked it in at 3 a.m. wearing chaos and carrying receipts. Just when you thought Zeus Network drama had reached peak insanity, the universe said, nah. Let's make this unhinged. Orlando Brown stepped back into the spotlight like a human plot twist nobody ordered. And suddenly Chrisean Rock's name was flying through the internet like a runaway tire on the freeway. This isn't just tea, this is boiling oil poured directly onto the timeline. And everybody got splashed out 1 minute. Fans were arguing about reality TV mess, and the next minute, Orlando Brown started talking like he found the deleted scenes nobody was supposed to see. Claims dropped. Names floated. Allegations hovered. And somehow, Chrisean Rock got snatched into the middle of it, whether she wanted to be there or not. This makes the Kardashians look like a PBS documentary because this cast came with no warning label and 0 commercial breaks. The internet froze, then exploded. Screenshots flew. Comment sections turned into war zones. And everyone asked the same question in different fonts. How did we get here? Buckle up, because once you hear how this spiraled, you'll realize this wasn't drama, it was a carefully timed internet detonation. This mess didn't crawl out slowly, it exploded into existence, loud, reckless, and impossible to ignore. The moment Orlando Brown opened his mouth, the internet didn't just lean in, it braced for impact. Because when someone with his history speaks, people don't ask if it's messy. They ask how messy it's about to get. And this time, the blast radius stretched far enough to drag Chrisean Rock straight into the middle of a growing inferno that already had gasoline soaked into the ground. It didn't start with a polished statement or a carefully edited interview. No press release, no PR filter, just claims tossed out like lit matches, each one landing somewhere new, igniting speculation faster than facts could even catch their breath. Orlando wasn't talking in hypotheticals. He wasn't hinting. He was naming vibes, implying patterns, and talking like someone who'd seen the backstage door nobody else noticed. And once those words hit the timeline, there was no taking them back. Now here's where things turned dangerous. The conversation didn't stay on Orlando for long. It pivoted. It always does. Because the internet loves a familiar face, and few names trigger instant reaction like Chrisean Rock. The moment her name entered the narrative, the story leveled up from drama to obsession. Not because she had spoken, not because she had confirmed anything, but because her name alone carries controversy like a shadow. People didn't wait to ask how she was connected. They assumed there had to be a connection. Old clips resurfaced like they were summoned. Past moments got reinterpreted with brand new suspicion. Interviews from months ago were suddenly treated like cryptic prophecies. And just like that, Chrisean wasn't a bystander. She was positioned as a central figure in a scandal still being invented in real time. The spotlight then swung towards Zeus Network, a platform already known for selling chaos like premium content. Critics jumped in immediately, claiming this was proof of a toxic ecosystem where controversy isn't just tolerated, it's monetized. Supporters fired back, saying people were reaching, exaggerating, and hunting for villains because boredom is the internet's true disease. And sitting right between those arguments was a simple truth nobody wanted to admit. This felt believable enough to go viral, and that was all it needed. Chrisean's silence only intensified everything. In the digital age, quiet isn't neutral, it's interpreted. Every hour without a response became fuel. People questioned her motives, her loyalty, her past decisions, her entire public persona. It didn't matter that she hadn't addressed the claims. Silence was treated like strategy, like guilt, like mystery, depending on who was tweeting. Meanwhile, Orlando Brown continued speaking in a way that felt unfiltered to the point of danger. His delivery was chaotic, but the confidence behind it made people uncomfortable. Because confidence, even when paired with instability, makes people wonder what someone believes is untouchable truth. And that uncertainty kept eyes glued to screens. The timeline fractured into camps. One side dismissed everything as another Orlando spiral. Another side argued that brushing him off was exactly how uncomfortable truths stay buried. And then there were the spectators, the largest group, watching it all unfold like a live reality show with no confessionals and no producers yelling cut. What made this moment hit harder was timing. This didn't land during a quiet week. This dropped when audiences were already overloaded with celebrity scandals, meaning patience was gone and outrage was cheap. People didn't want nuance. They wanted conclusions. And they wanted them fast. Chrisean Rock's history with public chaos made her an easy target. When someone has lived their life loudly, the internet assumes every rumor fits. It doesn't matter if the puzzle pieces don't connect yet, people will force them together until they do. And suddenly, her name wasn't just trending, it was circulating inside a narrative she never volunteered for. Zeus Network, for its part, found itself trapped in familiar territory. Accused, defended, dissected. Some claimed this was the inevitable outcome of a brand built on spectacle. Others argued that dragging the network into unverified claims was irresponsible. But controversy doesn't wait for verification. It feeds on momentum, and momentum was in full sprint. By the end of this phase, one thing was clear. This wasn't just about what Orlando Brown said. It was about what people were willing to believe, who they were ready to question, and how fast a name could become collateral damage in a viral war. The stage was set. The tension was locked in. And the internet, hungry as ever, waited for the next shoe to drop because scandals like this never peak quietly. Once the spark was lit, the internet didn't just react. It lost its entire mind. This is the phase where stories stop being discussed and start being performed. Reaction videos multiplied like gremlins after midnight. Everyone suddenly had a source, a theory, or a cousin who knows someone close to the situation. And right at the center of this digital feeding frenzy were the same three names being recycled, reshaped, and reinterpreted every hour: Orlando Brown, Chrisean Rock, and Zeus Network. This is where logic officially clocked out and chaos clocked in. Because instead of asking what was confirmed, the internet asked a far more dangerous question. What if it's true? That single question is how rumors evolve into movements. Memes started doing the heavy lifting, turning serious allegations into punchlines, and punchlines into perceived proof. Screenshots with zero context went viral. Clips from unrelated moments were stitched together like conspiracy documentaries on fast forward. Celebrity reactions didn't help. Some spoke in riddles, dropping vague comments like, "well, not ready for the truth," which somehow meant everything and nothing at the same time. Others stayed quiet, which, according to internet law, automatically made them suspicious. And a few couldn't resist clout chasing, inserting themselves into the narrative just to catch some of the heat. Suddenly, everyone was involved, even people who had no idea why they were trending. Chrisean Rock's image took the hardest hit during this stretch. Not because she confirmed anything, but because the internet rewrote her role in real time. She became a symbol instead of a person. To some, she represented everything wrong with chaotic celebrity culture. To others, she was the perfect scapegoat, loud, visible, and already polarizing. And once a narrative sticks, correcting it is like trying to put toothpaste back in the tube during an earthquake. Orlando Brown, meanwhile, transformed into the ultimate wildcard. Some viewers treated his words like gospel, replaying his statements frame by frame as if hidden truths might leak out if you squinted hard enough. Others mocked him relentlessly, turning his claims into jokes without realizing jokes still spread messages. Even disbelief fueled the algorithm. Even ridicule kept the spotlight on Dot and Zeus Network. It became the backdrop everyone projected their opinions onto. Critics accused it of thriving on dysfunction, arguing that environments built on spectacle eventually attract scandals like magnets. Supporters clapped back, saying blaming the network was lazy and performative outrage at its finest. But while the arguments raged, one thing stayed consistent. The brand name stayed trending, which in the attention economy is both a curse and a currency. This stage of the scandal felt less like a news cycle and more like a social experiment. It showed how quickly the public moves from curiosity to conviction without stopping for evidence. People weren't debating facts anymore. They were debating vibes. And vibes don't require receipts, just repetition. The why this part. The story kept mutating. New angles appeared daily. Some claimed there were deeper layers yet to surface. Others swore the truth was being hidden deliberately. Theories stacked on top of theories until nobody remembered the original claims clearly. That's how chaos wins, by exhausting clarity. Public outrage reached a boiling point. Comment sections turned hostile. Fan bases clashed like rival armies. Anyone who tried to slow things down or ask for nuance was labeled a defender, an enabler, or worse. In this climate, neutrality didn't exist. You were either awake or blind, depending on which side you followed. What made this phase especially explosive was how familiar it felt. People compared it to past celebrity implosions, saying this made previous scandals look almost tame. Others joked that reality TV had officially replaced scripted drama because real people spiraling in real time hits harder. And through it all, the algorithm smiled, because outrage is its favorite language. By the end of this stretch, the scandal had officially outgrown its origins. It wasn't about claims anymore. It was about reactions to reactions to reactions. The story had become self-sustaining, feeding on clicks, comments, and chaos. And as the noise grew louder, one thing became painfully obvious. When the internet decides to eat, it doesn't care who gets bitten. The only question left hanging was how this would land once the noise faded, because eventually, every storm reaches the moment where reality has to step back in. And when it does, someone always pays the price. Eventually, every internet explosion hits the phase where the noise dies down and the consequences walk in quietly, wearing receipts. This is where scandals stop being entertaining threads and start becoming real-life baggage. And by this point, there was no escaping the truth. Whatever started as claims had morphed into a reputational earthquake that rattled everyone involved. Whether they wanted to admit it or not, for Chrisean Rock, the fallout was subtle but heavy. There was no single headline declaring guilt or innocence. No clean narrative to grab onto. Instead, she was left dealing with the worst possible outcome in celebrity culture, association without clarity. Her name had been repeated enough times alongside controversy that public perception shifted on autopilot. Fans questioned her judgment. Critics felt vindicated. Casual viewers shrugged and quietly updated their mental image of her. And that's the part nobody warns you about. Once perception bends, it rarely snaps back into place. Silence, once again, worked against her. In a calmer world, not responding would be considered restraint. On the internet, it's treated like strategy. People analyzed what she didn't say more than anything Orlando Brown actually said. Every post she made unrelated to the situation was called tone-deaf. Every appearance was overanalyzed. Even existing content got reframed through a darker lens, as if the past had been waiting for this moment to be reinterpreted. Meanwhile, Orlando Brown remained exactly what he's always been in public discourse, a lightning rod. His claims didn't need to be proven to leave an impact. They did what controversy always does best. They destabilized trust. Some people believed him outright. Others dismissed him entirely. But both sides kept his name circulating, which meant the damage continued whether he was right, wrong, or somewhere in between. In the attention economy, relevance is power, even when it's radioactive. Then there was Zeus Network, standing in the blast zone yet again. The network didn't release dramatic statements. It didn't need to. Its reputation had already been written in permanent marker by years of chaotic programming and polarizing content. This scandal didn't redefine Zeus, it reinforced what people already believed about it. To critics, this was proof that controversy is baked into the business model. To supporters, it was just another example of outsiders blaming the platform instead of the people speaking. What made this phase different from the earlier chaos was the quiet shift in tone. The jokes slowed down. The memes aged out. The outrage found new targets. But the consequences lingered. Bookings, partnerships, and brand conversations don't disappear publicly. They simply stop happening behind closed doors. That's the part audiences never see. Scandals don't always end careers loudly. Sometimes they just narrow futures silently. Chrisean's image, already complicated, became harder to manage. Any future controversy would now be stacked on top of this one. Any defense would be met with "but remember when." That phrase alone can haunt a public figure indefinitely. It doesn't matter if the original situation was ever resolved. The internet rarely updates its conclusions. It just archives them. What this entire saga really exposed was how modern scandals function. They don't rely on evidence as much as they rely on momentum. Once enough people are watching, the story sustains itself. Reactions become content. Content becomes confirmation, and confirmation becomes belief. Even if nobody can explain exactly what they're believing anymore. Relationships took hits too. Fans turned on each other. Communities fractured. Some people defended Chrisean aggressively, framing her as another woman being dragged by a system that profits off her pain. Others argued that accountability should apply to everyone, regardless of popularity or vulnerability. Neither side fully won, because scandals like this don't produce winners. They produce exhaustion. And then there's the lingering fear factor. After watching this unfold, other celebrities paid attention. You could feel it. Subtweets popped up about staying private, posts about protecting your energy-flooded timelines. Because everyone saw the lesson clearly, any name can be pulled into chaos at any time. Whether invited or not. By the time the story cooled off, it didn't feel resolved, it felt shelved. Like a file marked to be reopened later. Because that's how these things work. Scandals don't disappear. They wait. One new interview. One careless comment. One resurfaced clip. And suddenly, the entire narrative reactivates like it never left. That's the true aftermath here. Not cancellation. Not vindication. Just permanent volatility. A reminder that in celebrity culture, stability is temporary and controversy has a long memory. Chrisean Rock walked away still standing, but changed. Orlando Brown stayed unpredictable and discussed. Zeus Network remained polarizing and profitable. And the internet moved on not because it found answers, but because it found new chaos to chew on. Because in this ecosystem, truth doesn't always matter as much as traction. Silence is suspicious. Noise is profitable. And once your name is tied to a storm, you don't get to decide when the clouds clear. Now, if your mind feels like it just went 10 rounds with the internet's messiest headlines. Good, that means you were paying attention. Because stories like this don't come with warning labels, and they definitely don't come with clean endings. If this breakdown had you shaking your head, laughing out loud, or side-eyeing your screen like ain't no way, then smash that like button like it personally betrayed you. I'm talking full commitment, no hesitation. Drop your thoughts in the comments because I already know this story split opinions right down the middle. Were these claims reckless chaos, uncomfortable truth, or just another example of how fast the internet eats its own? Say it with your chest. Argue respectfully or irresponsibly. I'm reading it all. This comment section is the real after show. If you're new here, hit subscribe right now. Because let's be honest, celebrity peace never lasts. Scandals don't wait, rumors don't rest. And this channel stays locked and loaded for the next meltdown that magically appears overnight. Turn on notifications so you don't hear about it today's late like everyone else pretending they already knew. And understand this, we don't do soft landings here. We track the chaos, connect the dots, call out the nonsense, and serve it with sarcasm strong enough to wake the dead. If it's loud, messy, controversial, or makes the internet uncomfortable, you'll hear about it here first up because today it was one name. Tomorrow it's another. And next week, somebody you swore was unproblematic is trending for all the wrong reasons. Stay curious. Stay skeptical. Stay entertained, but this isn't gossip. It's celeb insanity. It's celeb insanity.